I'm here to talk about Insider Picks, which is Business Insider's latest new program to generate additional revenue for the company outside of traditional advertising models. Just as a quick way of background, Business Insider was founded in 2007, and its goal is to talk about the important stories of the day in a quick, easy, plain-spoken format that's very understandable and shareable. Since 2007, we've grown a lot and recently introduced two new brands to our portfolio, Tech Insider, which launched in July of 2015, and Insider, which is currently live now on distributed platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and we'll be launching a website later this month, actually. Each of these sites has the same editorial mission, which is to talk about things in a way that's easy to understand, but with different goals. Business Insider is for the next generation of business leaders. Tech Insider is about how science, technology, and innovation are changing the world in which we live. And Insider is a more lifestyle-focused brand that's interested in showing exciting things to people who view life as an adventure. Together, these three brands reach over 100 million people every month. We're number one in business with Business Insider, and between BI, Tech Insider, and Insider, we're number one in reaching millennials. This is US data. We have 19 million fans on Facebook and over 1 billion video views each month. Insider Picks is affiliate revenue, so I thought I would quickly explain exactly what that is in case it's an unfamiliar concept. But basically what you would do is find a story on Business Insider that you think is interesting. We write about all sorts of different stories, but if you're particularly in the market to read about things, that's where Insider Picks comes in. So if you have an iPhone, you may be interested in what a better lightning cable than the one you have. You would click, read the story. Obviously, because it's BI, you'd love what you see. Click over to the store using the links that we provide in the story. Buy the item, which means that you've transacted on another platform like Amazon or any other retailer, because we can work with tens of thousands of online stores. You haven't paid a cent more for the product than you would have, and the retailers pass a referral fee to us for sending them a qualified purchase. So that's the affiliate revenue. And so when we created Insider Picks, we believed that we could take the great stories that we already create, add product recommendations to them, and that would give us happy readers who are interested in finding cool products and revenue. So it's a win-win. And I promise that is the last you'll see of that wonderful clip art. So there's a lot of stuff on the web, right? And that's not just content, but it's also product. So when we're thinking about how we wanted to get started, we thought about our readers and what are those people interested in, because that's going to drive where we start talking about products. So this is Business Insider, where Insider Picks started. You'll see it skews most majority male with a pretty high household income, median age of 39, which is a little younger than a lot of our competitive set, and pretty well educated. Here I think you can really see the two buckets that we wanted to start with, right? And it's high income, 25 to 34 people. So these people are young, educated, and have some disposable income. We call them Henrys, so high earners, but not rich yet. There is a difference. They're doing well, they're advancing their careers, but they haven't had the time in the professional sphere and the earnings to kind of build up a lot of wealth. So they're still in their first apartment after university. They want to advance their careers and continue to develop new skills, and they're obsessed with value. And value in this case doesn't mean the cheapest potential option. It means what's worth the money, right? So when does it make sense to spend more on something that's going to last a long time, and when is that not necessary? So that's what we mean by value. Right, so when we started to actually do this, we wanted to think critically about the content that we created, and that starts with hiring the right people. This is first and foremost an editorial product, so we wanted to hire people who are passionate product experts, and the good news is there are very few of them, but they're really, really interested in what they do. And if you are a passionate person who likes shopping online for yourself, this is a talent that you can apply to other people. So we wanted people who are just interested in finding out what's cool on the internet. And so putting readers first and highlighting products and services that we think they're going to like is what we wanted to do first and foremost, with the assumption that revenue would then follow up because these recommendations would be good. And we also wanted to be very clear about what we're doing. When you stand to make money from something, you should tell people that that's what's going to happen. So we created a separate byline for Insider Picks content specifically. That was the first step. The second is that after the headline, this is the first thing that everybody who reads an Insider Picks story sees. We want to be perfectly clear that this is a product recommendation. We stand behind it. However, if you do purchase it, we may make money. This is great for both readers and Business Insider, because if we're not making great recommendations, people aren't going to be interested enough in the story to click on it and read it. And if we did a bad job recommending a product, they're not going to click through and purchase. This is purely performance-based stuff. And on top of that, if someone buys something and doesn't like it and returns it, the money comes out, right? So in no way are we incentivized to talk about anything except things that are good for our readers, right? We stand to lose, because then if you don't like the product, the reader's not going to trust your recommendations moving forward. 18 months later, Insider Picks is a recognizable brand within Business Insider. It's currently 4 writers and editors plus myself, and we're further expanding the team to support Tech Insider and Insider. And that last stat is particularly exciting for me, which is that revenue is up 400% from Q1 15 to Q1 16, and we've had 5 straight quarters of revenue growth. Sorry. So diving in a little further, there we go. It's always important to take a look at where these readers are coming from, because that'll dictate, again, how to move the program forward. So this is a chart I really like to see, because it mirrors a lot of how Business Insider's traffic in general comes through. So we're not heavily reliant on any one particular source of traffic, right? Most websites, most publisher websites will say Facebook is a large source of traffic, and socials more than a third, so that's to be expected. But search is right behind it, and when you're talking about making product recommendations, people who have search intent are usually looking for something, so it's great that they're finding things through Insider Picks. Referrals are generally good. That's just people sharing links, referencing our stories, meaning that they have a high degree of relevancy to a lot of other things that people are talking about. And then direct traffic is our homepage traffic, and it's nice to see that the people who visit our site every day are continuing to visit and click on Insider Picks as well. And email's another great source for us. This is my favorite chart, which is looking at story revenue over time. So what I did here was I took all the stories we wrote 11 months ago, and I tracked their revenue potential over time. And so the first month where it's the highest is exactly what happened, right? The story goes live, so it didn't make any money before that. And then people see it, it's on our homepage, it goes out on our social channels, it gets promoted, and it generates some good revenue. Then after that, it leaves the homepage because we have a news cycle and stories continue to get refreshed, and the revenue goes down for a few months. But over time, it starts to creep back up as people start to discover it in search. And so it shows a lot about this type of story, that it has a long life, right? This kind of content doesn't just earn money on day one and then disappear into nothing. It creates value over time for months and hopefully years. And if I were to do this chart in another 6 months, I'd like to see that continue to go up, and we think it will. That's the theory behind this, is that you can create a web and an archive of valuable content over time. So looking at some specific examples of stories that have done particularly well for us, this is just sort of the exact thing that we're looking to do, which is find interesting things. So this particular wallet was really popular on Kickstarter, and we featured it. 800 people purchased one in 36 hours. I'm under no impression that we had 800 people who were actively looking for a wallet at that time, but they saw what they liked and followed through with the purchase. The same thing goes for expert reviews. When you have people who talk about products every single day, they get to try a lot of things. And this goes back to the point I made earlier about value. You can buy much more expensive earbuds than the pair we're talking about here, but if the $30 pair is just as good, why would you spend extra money, right? We could make more if we talked about the more expensive headphones, but that's not what's best for our readers. So this story is exactly the embodiment of that, and 3,700 people ordered a pair in the first 3 or 4 days of the story and have continued to do so since. Because our audience is ambitious and looking to grow their careers, professional development is an area of opportunity that we wanted to lean into pretty heavily. So we found a former Goldman Sachs employee who condensed his MBA into an online course. We wrote about that course, and it was a perfect mix of the audience that we have on Business Insider and the products that we're looking to curate. And so thousands of people bought this. It's the most popular story of all time for Insider Picks. Tons of page views, a really, really good amount of revenue, like a perfect case study in what we're looking to do. Not every story is like this, but that's fine. You have to create a lot of stories before you find ones like this. People really like when they have the confidence to buy something because someone else has recommended this, right? Like if your friend tells you that they like something, you're more likely to buy it if you want it. So what we do is test products that we think people are interested in and give our honest opinion about them. So the most comfortable jeans you'll ever wear actually are. I'm wearing them today. They're fantastic. And then 23andMe is another interesting example of this. It's it's sort of gross, but you fill up a jar with your spit, you send it to a lab, and they analyze your genetic heritage and your DNA. A lot of people would feel weird about paying $200 for that, but if you see what you get for that money, it's a lot more interesting. And so we did that, and people liked it. And then the other thing is to continue to know your audience. So we have an audience that overlaps really meaningfully with Amazon shoppers. It just so happens that people who read Business Insider also have Amazon accounts. So we wanted to create content specifically for them. And this is nice because it allows readers to self-select. If you are not an Amazon Prime member, then you have no interest in reading this story. You can just move on to something else. But if you are a Prime member and you're curious, you can click through and see if this is something that you're interested in. We find this works particularly well. And again, it's not about creating the most interesting story and just driving traffic to it. We want to make sure that the people and the products that we're recommending are finding each other in the best possible way. A lot of people can do that, so we also wanted to create some unique features to Insider Picks that would create it as a destination. The great thing about affiliate revenue like this is that if you have a website, you can do it, right? If someone can click on a link, they can click on a link that generates revenue. So the way that we're trying to create a space for Insider Picks to be a destination is by looking at some recurring features that we put out weekly. The first of these is the internet's favorite. So again, this goes back to showing people that giving people the confidence to purchase something. Our opinion is only one person's opinion or one team's opinion, but if you can look at the breadth of the internet and make a qualified call that one of these products is objectively or through analysis the internet's favorite something, that says a lot about that product if that many people have purchased it over time. So we found the internet's favorite wireless mouse. That's actually true. I've seen that mouse more times than I've seen any other. And the same with universal remotes. And brand spotlight. So especially now that e-commerce is really growing as a percentage of total shopping, there are a lot of retailers who are going direct to consumer and not doing a lot of marketing and don't sell anything except online, so you wouldn't see them in a brick and mortar store. These brands are things that are harder for people to discover, so we made a point of featuring a new brand or product every week in our spotlight feature. So these affordable men's dress shoes are from a company called Jack Irwin. which does not do any marketing at all, and we featured them, and people were really excited about some quality shoes that cost less because there's no marketing budgets built in, there's no, like all of the additional costs come out of it, so you just get a superior product for less money. We add our own rating, we add our own hands-on tests, we put together a rating system with our quant reporter, the guy who does like all of our statistical analyses, and then that's what we use to make a recommendation about these products. So these are much longer, they're over 1,000 words each. They're really serious. There are plenty of these guides out there. We try to do it in a way that stays true to our content, which is that it's easy to understand very quickly. If you wanted to go more in depth, there are much more comprehensive reviews than these, but we wanted to make it understandable for our audience while being thorough at the same time. So that's where we are now, and where we're looking to go is to lean more heavily into our new brands, so Tech Insider. It's grown pretty rapidly over the last 6 months, and we're thinking already about how to create Insider Picks content for an audience that's even younger than our Business Insider audience, that presents a unique challenge. And again, what are the product recommendations that people who care about technology and science and innovation going to like? Because they're not the same audience as a business audience. And Insider is even different, right? So there's a lot of lifestyle content opportunities, and Insider is by far our most female-centric brand. So that presents the challenge of us entering the space where there's already a lot more content related to female shopping than there is male shopping, which is why we've had a lot of success creating a space for ourselves. And I think entering a crowded market like this means that we really need to provide value for women if we're going to succeed there. And just to conclude, I think, it's important to look at why this is so popular now, because while we've been doing this for 18 months, we're not the only publisher that has been. And the timing is right because digital media companies and all media companies are looking to diversify away from the cyclical nature of the traditional advertising market. And commerce is one of the first truly digitally native business models. Like, you can't click a page in a magazine. And so this is something that only can be done on the web. And it's perfect because readers can directly support publications without having to pay any additional money, right? So as a publisher, you're performing a reader service, the reader gets benefit, and they don't have to pay for it, which we think is really a perfect way to generate revenue for our company. Thank you.